Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're diving into the sometimes crazy world of biotech stocks.
Yeah.
Specifically, we're going deep on BioXcel Therapeutics, ticker symbol BTAI,
Okay.
which just did something in the market that,
Yeah.
well, even if you've been investing for a while,
Right.
it's pretty surprising.
It was quite a jump. Seeing a stock more than double in a single day, it's definitely going to turn heads.
For sure, over 100% increase on March 3rd, 2025.
Wow.
Now, to put that into perspective, they were down almost 96%
Yeah.
from their 52-week high before this happened.
Ooh.
So what happened? What on earth triggered this huge market reaction?
Well, the catalyst was the FDA.
Okay.
They gave BioXcel the green light on a key part of their phase 3 trial for BXCL 501.
I see.
Now, this is their drug that they're working on for agitation associated with Alzheimer's disease.
Okay.
And it's been, a bit of a question mark because there were some data integrity concerns back in 2023.
Yeah, there were some questions about one of the trial sites, which, that's never a good thing when you're trying to get approval for a new drug.
Yeah. Right, exactly. But the FDA just wrapped up their investigation into that site, and they said no further action is needed.
Wow.
So essentially, they cleared that hurdle, and that's a big relief for BioXcel and its investors.
Yeah, it's like a massive roadblock was just removed from, them getting BXCL 501 approved for Alzheimer's.
Huge.
And the market definitely sees the potential.
Absolutely. The potential is huge. I mean, Alzheimer's-related agitation is a huge unmet medical need, and a drug like BXCL 501,
Yeah,
if it's approved, could be a total game changer for patients and their families.
absolutely. But before we get too excited and ahead of ourselves,
Right.
we need to, take a step back and look at BioXcel's story more broadly.
Yeah.
Because, as exciting as this stock price jump is,
Right.
it's just one chapter in a much larger story.
That's a great point to really get where BioXcel might be going. We need to know where they've been. We
Right.
need to look at, their business model, their management team,
Yeah.
and super importantly, their finances.
And trust me, by the end of this deep dive, you'll know a lot more about BioXcel and whether it's a risky bet or a diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
But I will say this, their future is anything but certain, even with this good news.
That's what makes it interesting. Biotech is rarely straightforward.
It's a roller coaster.
For sure.
So let's start with, just understanding the business. What exactly does BioXcel do, and what makes them different in the biotech space?
At their core, they're a biopharmaceutical company, and they focus on neuroscience and immuno-oncology.
Okay.
But what makes them different is their approach to developing drugs.
Yeah.
They have the strategy they call drug re-innovation, and it uses AI to find new uses for drugs that already exist.
So instead of starting from scratch with each new drug, they're finding new ways to use existing molecules.
Yeah, exactly, which saves them a lot of time and money.
Right, because traditional drug development takes forever and it's super expensive.
Yeah. BioXcel's strategy uses their AI platform called Evolver AI, and it's meant to really streamline the process.
And make it more likely to succeed.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. So they're kind of like looking for hidden potential in existing drugs.
Exactly.
What are some of the specific products that they're working on?
Well, right now, their flagship product is IGLMI. It launched in 2022,
Okay.
and it's a sublingual film.
Meaning?
It dissolves under your tongue, and it treats acute agitation in patients with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder.
Oh, so instead of a pill or an injection,
Right.
it's a thin film that dissolves under your tongue. That sounds like a much easier way to take medication, especially in a difficult situation.
Exactly. It's designed to work really quickly and to be more patient-friendly.
Which is really important when you're dealing with acute agitation.
Yeah.
And then beyond IGLMI, we've got BXCL 501, which we already talked about a little bit.
Right.
That targets agitation and Alzheimer's. And then they also have BXCL 701 in their pipeline, which is focused on immuno-oncology.
Right.
So using the body's immune system to fight cancer.
Right. BXCL 701 is still in early stage trials, so it'll be a while.
Yeah.
But it shows that BioXcel is looking beyond agitation and exploring new areas.
Good to see that they're diversifying their pipeline.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to management. Who is running BioXcel and what's their track record?
So the CEO is Vimal Mehta. He's been with BioXcel since the beginning.
Okay.
And he's got over 20 years experience in the pharmaceutical industry, including leadership positions at several big companies.
So this isn't his first rodeo.
No, definitely not.
He's seen it all?
He and his team have definitely faced some challenges in recent years,
Like what?
especially with their finances. But they've also shown that they're willing to adapt and make tough choices,
Like
cutting costs and refocusing their priorities.
Okay, and that ability to change and adapt is so crucial in a fast-paced industry like biotech.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, let's talk about their finances now. This is where things get a little more complicated.
But put it lightly, BioXcel's financial situation has been volatile. Despite this recent stock surge, they've been reporting consistent net losses.
Okay.
Now, that's not unusual for young biotech companies that are investing a lot in R&D.
Right.
But the amount of these losses has raised some eyebrows.
And it sounds like the revenue from IGLMI hasn't quite met expectations either.
Right, exactly. And that's adding to the financial pressure.
So how have they been keeping the lights on?
Well, they've been relying on equity offerings and debt financing, which has led to a pretty significant debt burden, and they actually have negative shareholder equity.
Whoa, so that means their liabilities are bigger than their assets.
Yeah.
That's a big red flag for investors.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a mixed bag. They have an innovative product with IGLMI, an experienced management team, a potentially game-changing drug in their pipeline, but they're facing some serious financial problems.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be key to understand how the market is reacting to all of this.
For sure.
Both the good and the bad.
Absolutely. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a few minutes to finish our deep dive on BioXcel Therapeutics. Stay tuned. So we've got this company with a really cool business model, experienced leaders, and a financial situation that's, well, let's just say it needs some work.
Right, a little precarious.
Yeah, so given all that, how is the market viewing BioXcel?
That's a great question. And honestly, it's kind of all over the place.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you've got some analysts who are cautiously optimistic, especially now that the FDA cleared that issue with BXCL 501.
Right.
They see a lot of potential for big growth if the drug is approved and if BioXcel can actually get it out there to that huge market of people who need Alzheimer's treatments.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the need for good treatments for Alzheimer's-related agitation is massive.
It is.
So the market potential is definitely there.
For sure. But like I said, it's kind of a mixed bag.
Right. There's that other side.
Yeah, there are a lot of investors who are understandably worried about BioXcel's finances.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about a company that's spending a lot of money really fast. They've got a lot of debt, and they haven't turned a profit yet.
Right.
Those are hard things to overlook, even with the good news about BXCL 501.
It's like they're building a rocket to go to the moon, but they keep having to scramble for parts and fuel just to keep it from falling apart before it even launches.
I like that analogy. It's very true.
And to make things even more complicated, BioXcel has been a target for short sellers in the past.
Oh, yeah.
These are investors who are basically betting that the stock price is going to go down.
Exactly.
So even with this recent jump, are there still people who think BioXcel is going to crash?
Yeah, there are, but here's where it gets interesting. The number of people shorting BioXcel has actually dropped lately.
So what does that mean?
It could mean that even some of the most negative investors are starting to see some potential.
Interesting. So we've got a mix of people who are optimistic and people who are pessimistic, all trying to figure out what's going to happen with this stock.
Yep. Wall Street's got a debate going on about BioXcel.
That's for sure. Well, to understand things better. Let's look at the ownership structure of the company.
Okay.
Who are the major players who own BioXcel's stock?
Well, because BioXcel is still a pretty small company.
Yeah.
What's called a microcap company.
Oh.
The big institutional investors don't own a lot of the stock.
Okay.
You do have some index funds that hold shares, but actually many of them have sold some of their shares over the past year as the stock price went down.
So if the big investors aren't jumping in, who's left holding the stock?
Mostly individual investors.
Like you and me.
Yeah, exactly. And here's another thing. Insider buying has been pretty low.
Meaning?
The people who run the company, the executives and board members, haven't been buying a lot of stock lately.
Oh, so does that mean they don't have confidence in the company's future?
Well, some investors might see it that way.
Right, because you'd think if they really thought the stock was a good deal, they'd be buying it themselves.
Right. It's definitely something to think about. Of course, there could be other reasons why they're not buying, maybe trading restrictions or personal stuff.
Right.
But yeah, the lack of insider buying does add another layer of complexity to the story.
It definitely raises some questions. Okay, so to put all this information together and figure out the risks and opportunities for BioXcel, let's move on to risk assessment.
Okay, sounds good.
And to do that, we're going to use something called a SWOT analysis.
Ah, yes. The SWOT analysis, a classic way to look at a company's strategy.
Yeah. So what does SWOT stand for?
It stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Okay.
And by looking at each of these, we can really understand the challenges and the potential rewards of BioXcel.
Gotcha. So let's start with the good stuff. BioXcel's strengths. What are they doing well?
Well, they have a really innovative product with Guigalami.
Yep.
Remember, it's the first and only sublingual film for acute agitation that's been approved.
Yeah.
So they have a big advantage being first to market.
That's huge, especially in the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah, and they also have a strong portfolio of intellectual property that protects their technology, like their drug delivery system and their AI drug discovery platform.
That makes sense. They've put a lot of money into developing those, and they need to protect it from competitors.
Exactly.
Okay, so strengths are covered now. Let's talk about weaknesses. I think we've hinted at some already.
Yeah, their biggest weakness, like we said, is their finances.
Right.
They're burning through cash, they have a lot of debt, and the revenue from Ajawamai isn't enough to support their operations yet.
Right.
They need to figure out how to close that gap between their potential and their actual performance.
It's that classic biotech
Yeah.
problem. Great idea, amazing product, but can you make money?
Exactly, and that leads us to the opportunities.
Okay.
Despite the financial issues, BioXcel is working in a market with huge potential.
In what way?
The demand for effective treatments for agitation, especially in Alzheimer's, is enormous.
Right.
If they can get through the regulatory stuff, secure more funding, and really scale up their operations, the upside is huge.
So they're at a crossroads.
Yeah, they are.
The opportunity's there, but they've got to execute perfectly to take advantage of it.
That's right. And then we come to the threats.
Okay, like what?
Well, competition is a big one. They're not the only company working on treatments for agitation.
Right.
They're up against some really big players in the pharmaceutical industry, companies with way more money and experience.
So they've got to stay ahead of the game.
Yeah, both with their research and how they sell their products.
Oh, yes.
Another big threat is that they need more money.
Okay.
They've already had to dilute their shareholders through multiple stock offerings.
What does that mean?
It means they've been selling more stock to raise money,
Okay.
but that can hurt the value of the existing shares.
I see.
If they can't start making money or find other ways to get funding soon, it's going to be really tough for them to carry out their plans.
It's like they're stuck on a treadmill just trying to keep up with the bills.
Yeah, but if they can break free, the payoff could be huge.
So BioXcel is a company with a lot going on. Yeah, it is. Good and bad opportunities and threats.
Exactly, a mix of everything.
So it really seems like BioXcel is at like a turning point right now.
Yeah.
We've got this exciting news with the FDA and their Alzheimer's drug, but at the same time, they're dealing with some tough financial stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So as we wrap up our deep dive on BioXcel, what do you think the future holds for them?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? And honestly, it's really hard to say.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things that could happen.
Right.
It's impossible to predict for sure which way things will go.
Okay, so what are the key things that will determine BioXcel's fate in the next few months or years?
Well, first of all, they need to make sure their plan for Igellamai is working.
Okay.
You know, they've got to get that product out there to more doctors and patients.
Yeah.
Make sure insurance companies will cover it.
Right.
And really start seeing some revenue growth.
So they have to prove that Igellamai can actually be successful in the market.
Exactly. Can't just be a good idea.
Right.
And then at the same time, they need to keep working on getting BXCL 501 through the regulatory process.
So finish the phase 3 trial, submit it to the FDA, and hopefully get approval to sell it for Alzheimer's agitation.
Exactly. And even if they do get approval, they'll still have to launch a new drug into a very competitive market.
Yeah, that's not easy.
Not at all. They'll need to show how BXCL 501 is different from other treatments, convince doctors to prescribe it, and educate patients and their families about it.
It's a lot to handle.
Oh, yeah. And they'll have to do all of this while trying to control their spending and deal with their debt.
It sounds like a juggling act with chainsaws.
You could say that it's a very delicate balancing act.
So going back to our original question, is BioXcel a big risk or a hidden gem?
Well, as we've seen, it's a bit of both.
Okay.
There's definitely risk involved. They're a small company with financial issues in a very competitive and unpredictable industry.
But they also have some interesting things going for them, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like an experienced management team, and they're targeting big problems that need solutions.
Exactly.
If they can pull it off and overcome the challenges they're facing, the payoff could be huge.
But there's also a chance they could fail, run out of money, or hit unexpected roadblocks.
That's right. It's a classic high-risk, high-reward situation.
So it sounds like it's really important for investors to do their research
Yeah.
and carefully consider the risks and rewards.
Absolutely.
And that's what we try to do here on the Deep Dive.
Right.
We want to give you the information you need to make smart decisions.
That's the goal.
We don't give financial advice, but we do want to make you curious,
Right.
encourage you to learn more, and become more confident investors.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that biotech is always changing.
Yeah,
New discoveries are happening, new companies are popping up, and things are constantly shifting,
it's definitely an exciting field to keep up with.
even if you're not investing in it.
So whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting out, keep learning and asking questions.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you want to learn more about biotech and finance, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Stock Analytics AI,
We've got new episodes every week covering all kinds of companies and trends.
and let us know in the comments what stocks you'd like us to cover.
We love hearing from our listeners.
And just a reminder, this deep dive is for informational purposes only. It's not financial advice.
Right. Always do your own research and talk to a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive on BioXcel Therapeutics.
It was a good one.
We'll see you next time for another exploration of some of the most interesting companies out there.